bullets, the fiery darts is what the Bible calls it, being shot at you, the situations that's happening all around you, and us paying attention to the things, what we see and what we hear, and allowing these things to stop us from enjoying every promise that Christ paid for. Stopping us. It's stopping us dead in our track. It's stopping us from everything. The penalty of not recognizing the depth of a war that you're in was going to be death. It's going to cause you to lose out on everything. It's going to cause you to lose out on every promise of God. And you're going to end your life here in misery, hoping for the mercy of God to let you into heaven. Hoping for the grace of God to let you into heaven, because I'm going to tell you, as we've said many times, how hard is it to obey God when you're miserable? How hard is it to obey God and come in here and shout victory when you're in misery and you're in chaos and you got 50 things going on in your life and your mind is running everywhere in it? That's called war. That's what war is. And we better learn to recognize war. War. W-A-R. You are in a war for your life. For your eternal life. Not just your physical life, but your eternal spiritual life. You're in a war for it until the day you leave here. And He will fight you until the day you leave here. Whether it be by death or by rapture. You're in an all-out war. But you're also in a place that you can have an intimate relationship with God. If you'll just recognize this war. And recognize that you're guaranteed victory beyond a shadow of a doubt if you obey God and do exactly what He says to do, no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what goes on around you, no matter what enemies pop up against you. Enemies don't have to be people. Enemies can be sicknesses. They can be anything. As we said, enemies are anything that takes life and life more abundantly from you. That's your enemy. And there's many enemies out there. And that's part of the war. That's part of the things that the enemy is using against us. That we don't recognize war. We're not recognizing how serious it is to not to realize that you're in a real war. That you're in a real battle. You're in a real struggle every day. But you're guaranteed victory if you fight back. You're guaranteed victory if you get up every day and strap on your armor. You're guaranteed victory if you'll get up every day and realize because this person over here cusses you out, that ain't them, it's Satan that's behind it. It's Satan behind every problem and every situation. Sickness, Satan. Problems, Satan. Financial troubles, Satan. It is all Satan that's causing all these problems. He pulled the intimate relationship away from Adam and Eve, and guess what? He's doing it today to the church people and believers today. Because we do not recognize the war, the serpent. We do not recognize the wolf. We do not recognize the seriousnof war. We do not recognize what it's like to not fight back. And many people today, I've heard them out of my own mouth, out of my own ears say, Lord, I don't want to get up and sing because tomorrow I know that, gosh, Satan's going to throw everything in the world at me. You're probably right. But he's throwing it at you anyway. He ain't going to back off. If you think he's going to back off for anything, the best thing I can tell you, as I've told people before, and I mean this with every ounce of love in me, the best thing that you could do is quit church, go out here and enjoy the things of this world, and enjoy whatever time you got left, because hell is going to be eternal. You better enjoy a little bit of time, because you're going to be miserable the rest of your time in this life, and hell is going to be more miserable than that for eternity. The best thing that people can do if they don't want to fight this war is just quit. And just give up and just give it all over and just say, Satan, I'll sell my soul over to you so you'll leave me alone. I'll just follow you. I'll just worship you and just do whatever you want me to do so at least I can have a little bit of peace for the next whatever years I have left. I'll just give it all over to you so I can have at least a few years of peace. And that's what Paul meant when he said many times, wouldn't it be horrible to come up fighting and end up short? Wouldn't it be horrible to end up running this race and end up coming second? And second has no prize? Wouldn't it be horrible to do these things? That's just paraphrasing what Paul kept warning the churches about. Don't end up running this race and come up short. Why? Because you don't recognize the seriousness of the war that you're in. And you're not really fighting back with everything in you. If you could just picture your everyday life as a real soldier who straps on his gear and his backpack and his weapon and his bulletproof vest and all these things. That's what, if you realize what he says when he says, read about the armor he says that we have. Feet shod with the preparation of gospel. The breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the shield of faith, etc. and so forth. Does that not sound like a soldier equipped to win? Does that not sound like a soldier in war? Does that not sound like a soldier who's going to battle? Does that not sound like a soldier who is going out every day to win? But if we don't equip ourselves every day and get up every day with this, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to be another Pearl Harbor, or you're going to be another 9/11, or any other country or any other person that's been at war and not realized they're at war. Not being that way. Be humble as a dove and wise as a serpent. We got to realize this. We got to go forward and fighting for what we want. You got to get tough with the tough things, as we've always said. It's time that people get in depths of prayer and fasting and seeking that relationship with God and fighting for what they want. And quit waiting and sitting back on the mercy of God to save your family. Quit waiting and sitting back on the mercy of God to heal certain things. Go after it. Quit letting Satan control your life around you and go after the promises of God. Go after it. He promised to give you understanding about everything. But are you going after it, or are you just sitting and waiting and hoping He'll give it to you? He'll give you understanding about it. And there's some things He may not move like He did with Paul. He told Paul, I'm not going to move this. You ask 3 times, I give you 3 answers. I'm not moving this thorn out of your flesh. And there's a reason I won't move it. There's a reason, because it will cause you to elevate yourself above me and cause you to miss it. There may be some things we may have to suffer through the rest of our life, but at least we'll have understanding about it. But Paul strapped on his gear every day. He went to war every day against Satan, and he fought tooth and nail every day, and he won. He won every day, and now he's in heaven forever, and he gets to have all the pleasures of God. Even in the worst situations he could face, he still praised God. Why? He realized the seriousness of this war. He realized how serious this war against Satan really is. Oh, we recognizing that. You know, when we got saved, I believe a lot of times that most people get saved whenever they have that fear of hell. They have that fear of, oh God, I can't go to hell forever. Whatever it takes to get people saved is a wonderful thing. But then you got to start growing. You got to start going forward. And you got to start fighting Satan back from day right there. You got to start fighting him with everything in you to go get the promises of God. You can't just come to church and sit there. You come every service. You go 7 days a week and go 3 services every day. You go to 21 services every week and still lose the war. You can still lose these things. But do we really realize, are we really fighting? You're going to have to answer this question yourself. Are you really getting downright tough with this war and fighting it with everything in you? Or are you letting it go and just hoping for the mercies of God? Or one day you'll fight and 10 you won't? Or is it every now and then you'll fight back? You know, the most time I think today that believers will really fight with everything in them, and I've heard it and I've said this before, A doctor, I would almost, and I don't mean this out of a bad way, every one of us, we need a doctor whether we got it or not.